Welcome back to our Summer with Craft series. So glad you're back for another video. Thank you so much for all the comments and the likes and the questions and the feedback over these last few weeks. It's been really encouraging. I took a couple weeks off. I had some family stuff come up and a vacation as well. And then I recorded a couple videos and I hated them. And so you know what? I'm going to go back and do them again because I don't want to give you bad content. I don't want to give you something that is useless. I want something that is helpful, something that I would want to watch if I was trying to improve in an area. And so we're back, re-recorded all this content, and I hope that this is going to be helpful. So let's go right into craft and check out our Summer with Craft document. This has been what we've worked off this whole time, and we're going to pull this up. And we did episode 0, right? Getting started with craft. Episode 1, creating a system for success, daily notes. Episode 2, linking and note making. That was a great episode, and you guys had tons of great feedback on that. Today is all about organizing inside of craft, and I want to make this really practical and just a few quick points on what I do in craft to be organized. I was recently on a Slab of Glass with Jeff Perry, and we got into craft a lot. And one of the things that I said in there, and I kind of was thinking about it as the episode came out last week, I'll put a link in the description of this video if you want to go listen to that. And one thing that I mentioned about craft was that I really approached craft with an open mind. I didn't bring my old system into craft, but instead just kind of have let craft kind of tell me and drive in terms of organization and productivity. The real question I think all of us need to ask is, how do I find what I'm looking for? Your note system is only good as your ability to search for those things. I've used note systems in the past that I thought were amazing that had terrible search, right? And you put a couple hundred and then ultimately thousands of notes in something. If you can't find those, that is not great. Others have too much structure and you spend time working on the structure and not on the concepts. So craft strikes a great balance for me, and here's how I think about that. I want it to be simple enough to find what I'm looking for, but also complex enough to hold what I need to hold. Recipes don't go in your folder with, message notes or podcast information. You need to have systems for things to fit inside of, but it needs to be simple enough that it's easy to find. It's not a barrier to keep you from getting work done. So what do we do? How do we organize inside of craft? I have 3 ideas today. I hope these will help. Number 1 is to chisel away. Let's open up this card and you'll see what I'm talking about. I want to chisel away. I want to get rid of all the things that aren't necessary. Just like Michelangelo sculpting David, he said, I just got rid of all the parts that weren't David. And that's what came out. I want to get rid of everything that I don't need. So if I don't need a folder, if I don't need that system, I want to get rid of it, because you don't need a folder for everything. But everything should be in a folder that makes sense. Again, recipes don't live in your meeting notes. That doesn't make sense. Broad categories have worked best for me. You can see here on this kind of side view here, I've got a couple different folder structures. So like this is for my maps of content, something that I'm working on a little bit, keeping track of just a lot of things with linking. I've got some here for work, inspiration, messages, meeting notes, current things that I'm working on. Here's one for resources. So we've got conversations, web clippings, and articles and authors. We talked about this last time, how I'm using using Craft to keep track of my articles and who wrote them. Then I've got stuff for personal and different things that I'm working on inside of that. But again, it's not that hard to drill down to what I'm looking for. Broad categories are super helpful. And then the most helpful thing about craft, the reason that craft is so good, is its ability to quickly search. Anywhere I'm at, I just hit Command O, and it's going to bring up the search window, and I can just begin searching for what I want to find. And you can see recent notes that I've worked through, and then I can always just search for, if I search for craft, what's going to come up? Well, here's a space, Summer with Craft. Here's folders, how to use craft. Again, it's super fast and super, super easy to use, right? So chisel away, get rid of everything you don't need, but keep a structure that is going to be useful, that's going to quickly get you near the right place. Let's talk about how craft kind of wants you in a hierarchical way to organize your notes. Notes, cards, documents, daily notes. So how does craft categorize your content? This is important. Number 1 is spaces, right? I'm in a space right now. I also have a couple others like my journal space and then like a test space called Summer of Craft. that I kind of work out different ideas in if I don't want them in my main live space. But right now, most of my stuff just lives in one space. Then you have your inbox, right? If you add a note and don't put it in a folder, it's going to land in your inbox. Each week I have a task in my reminders that says clean up craft. And what that means is I go through my inbox and my starred notes and I just sort things in the right folders. So during the week, if I'm taking notes on something, I'm adding a note, I share something from a share sheet extension, either on iOS or Mac OS. I'm putting all this content together. On Fridays, all of that gets sorted into the right folder. So even if I don't do it immediately, right, I don't have a structure that's that hard and fast. It's easy to just search for something or look through all documents. But the inbox is great when you don't know what to do with that note yet, but you know you want to have one. So that's your inbox. And then of course you have all these different folders, and you can put folders inside of a folder, right? So this one just has notes in it, but this one you can see has multiple folders inside of it. And then there's the notes. In this most recent update of Craft, you can see little previews for the notes, which is just super cool. Craft continues to just do really neat things like that to help visualize data. I can see the header and then a little bit of the content even inside of it, which is just super helpful. So you can have folders inside of folders inside of folders. Just again, an easy way to organize things. And then we get to notes or documents, right? These are the main things that we have here. If I click on my all documents, it's going to pull up obviously all of my documents. I'm just going to keep loading them as I go down. This is where all of these documents live. Beyond that, you can add cards and like grouped documents inside of a note. So let me show you how that works. If I go down here and I start typing, let's just say test. Now, if I hit this and say card, it's going to make a card for me. And I can choose the size of it. Let's make this one, and we'll make it green. Cool. So see, now we have this like full width card. Here's another card that I made that's a small card. You can see a little preview inside of it. Now, if I click inside of this card, I'm going to be able to add more text. I could add a list, or I could add a numbered list. I could come in and add to do, right? I could link to another note. So if I hit the @ symbol, it's going to link to something. I could say today, right? I could link to a daily note. Super easy. And again, we're just creating things inside of, but all of this lives inside of this document. And it's not going to be in my all documents page. So you can see that I made this test card, but this card is not here, right? It doesn't live here. It just lives inside of a note. Now I could turn that into a document, but I don't have to. And so for me, cards are a great way to organize things visually when I really need them all still to be grouped together, right? In this episode, I'm walking through these 3 different ideas of staying organized inside of Craft, which is a card inside of a card, right? It's like a Russian doll. We're just stacking and stacking and stacking. But what you need to see is that cards are searchable, but they are not in your documents. So it's a great way to not flood your documents with tons of random things. But again, if something lives inside of a document, but it makes sense to display it in a card, it's really just a display language. Same thing with grouping. So I could take all of these, and I'm just going to hit Shift and click, and now they're all highlighted, and I'm just going to hit Command G. So I hit Command G, and now I grouped all of these together, and I could give it a name. Let's name it Craft. So I can click in and go deeper into that, right? And we can add content into that. So now you can see all that text has now been grouped into this little mini page. Again, that's not searchable in the all documents, but it is searchable if I come down here and hit Command O and type in Craft. It should give me this little, yeah, there it is right there. So you can see it right here. It's loaded this in the pages. So it's still a page, but it's not a document. That's an easy way to see the hierarchy inside of Craft. So you have the whole space, you've got documents, they can live in your inbox or a folder, and then you can have cards and pages that are inside of those documents that are searchable but are not in your all documents list. That's how Craft organizes everything. I think it's a pretty great way. At the end of the day, all this is just Markdown. It's just a way for you to see it and for it to be displayed differently. But I really like it. I really like having this view and design for pages because it just helps me think. All right, one more quick thing about Craft to taking notes. Two ideas that I use a lot are Quick Note and starred notes. Now, Quick Note is just something that I kind of brought over from Apple Notes. In Apple Notes, I had a pen note that just had like quick copy stuff, whether that was bank account information or other information that I just wanted to find quickly. I used this in Craft as well, and I made one for my Quick Notes that I called Clipboard. And this is just like random things that I have thought about that I add to this note. So I can append things to a note. I have a shortcut on my phone that just adds a link or adds text to a Quick Note. So I can write a piece of text, copy it, add it to the Quick Note, or I can grab a website and add that as a into this Quick Notes, Quick Links clipboard. It's really easy and really fast. So if I'm just reading something, I'm like, I don't know what to do with this right now. I don't even know if I want to add it as an article. I just want to stick it in there. That's how I do that with a shortcut to add it as a quick note. The other thing that I do is star notes. Now, starred notes are right here. And you can see I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 starred notes, so not a ton. Just some things that I'm working on that are really specific, like, hey, keep these in front of you. And starred notes are great because they work across any folder. No matter where you put it in Craft, in that space, you're going to see those starred notes. And so these are things that I want quick access to. It's almost like a frequently used page for me. Starred notes are a great way for quick access. It's a way I can quickly access something and get on my way, right? So this Summer with Craft page, that's a starred note. A few things that I'm working on at work that I'm just looking at constantly, those are starred notes. And then when I'm done, I'll take away the star, they go back to their folders, and they're gone. So there's just a couple thoughts on how I organize things inside of Craft. Again, we want to chisel away what we don't need. We want to make it as simple as possible, but complex enough to hold our ideas. Use the hierarchy inside of Craft. Use spaces, use folders, use documents, use pages and cards, use all the stuff. Try it out. When I first started using Craft, I was a little leery of like cards and pages inside of documents. It seemed overwhelming, like hat on a hat, you know, but it really is helpful because it's a visual styling. It's not breaking anything that you're doing. And you can always just export them as Markdown. So if I exported this page right now as Markdown, all of this content inside of that note would come, right? It all comes with it. It's just a visual styling and it's nice, right? Craft looks nice. Enjoy the fact that they have an incredible development team. And then use things like quick notes or starred notes. Make your own way to quickly access information. So when you're on the go and you need to do something and add it to Craft, it's like muscle memory. It's so fast. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for being a part of this series. I'm excited about the next few videos that are coming. I hope these videos are helpful. Again, if you have any questions or any suggestions of things you'd like for me to cover as we work through Summer with Craft, we've still got plenty of videos left. Let me know. Again, thank you for all the support and the feedback. It's meant so much. All the kind words and encouragement. You guys are amazing. I know there are nice people on YouTube, and you are one of those for watching this. If you made it this far, congratulations. You made it to the end of this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.